What is going on, guys? It is Trifecta J here with episode 24 of my Kings MyGM, and this is the off-season episode. You can see the finals matchup is the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Toronto Raptors, and the Thunder would go on to win the title in 5 games. The Thunder only dropped 2 games in all of the playoffs, just a dominating performance from them. That is definitely going to be our toughest competitions in the next couple of years. You can see the retired players now. Elton Brand, Sean Marion, Manu Ginobili, and Nick Collison are probably the most notable, along with Udonis Haslem. But we do have a new owner of the Sacramento Kings who bought the team. He wants us to do a couple of things. He wants us to win a championship. That might be a little tough to do. I feel like this is a very solid team that will continue to improve. But now you can see our budget, and you can see the draft lottery. 76ers have the first overall pick, and the Nuggets have the 7th, 8th, and 9th pick. So 3 lottery picks for them, and we have the 22nd pick in the first round, and I believe the 52nd in the second round. But our assistant GM wants us to re-sign our head scout. I said that was fine. I think he did a pretty good job at the players he scouted. It seemed pretty accurate. I don't really know how much of a difference that would make, but we would go ahead and sign him just to a 1-year deal, just to get him back, make that guy happy. And I didn't mean to do this. I was just clicking to see who I could sign as a head coach. I wanted to get Terry Stotts, but I didn't have the money as he was the best overall option. And then I clicked on Kevin McHale, and I couldn't get out of it, so I would go ahead and sign him to a 1-year deal. I think he's like an A on offense, but like a C- on defense, so not great there. For our CFO, we would go with, I believe he was the best candidate, and sign him to a 3-year deal. A solid little upgrade. And then for our assistant coach, I spent all my budget because I'm stupid and I did it again. So I would go ahead and I spent all my budget on my assistant coach, and I couldn't afford to re-sign the one who was with us, so I would have to sign Frederick Stapleton, who had all Fs and is just absolutely terrible. Probably need to allocate a little bit more of our budget for salaries, but you would see our team options. I picked up the first 4, did not pick up Briante Weber's, as I felt like if I really wanted to get him later on, I could maybe sign him for a multi-year deal, and that would just be, it wasn't really necessary. I could sign him in free agency if I wanted to, or if I got a better guy, then it wasn't really necessary, as he's our 3rd point guard. You can see some of the people whose contracts have expired are 3 free agents that we have, Briante Weber being one of them. Robert Covington wants to test free agency, and I did not plan on bringing back Tyson Chandler as he is getting older, and I wanted to upgrade that spot. But Kevin McHale wants us to draft some guy. I told him no, that's not who I wanted to pick. But the first pick overall, the 76ers wanted to trade it to us for DeMarcus Cousins. I thought about it for a second, but there's the chances of the first pick, or the person that I pick, actually becoming what DeMarcus Cousins is now, is probably pretty low, so I would turn down the second pick. Also, first pick was Jaylen Brown. D'Angelo Russell goes 2nd overall. Ben Simmons goes 3rd overall. The Timberwolves would trade up for the 4th pick. They would pick Devin Booker, I guess, to pair him with Andrew Wiggins in the backcourt or on the wings. The Lakers pick Rashad Vaughn with the 5th pick, and we would go ahead and trade Jason Thompson, clear up $6 million, about $7 million in cap space for a 2017 draft pick. That is our draft pick, and we would go ahead on the 22nd pick. We would go out and pick Amita Brima, a 7-foot center out of Connecticut, who would be a very nice backup center and a good rim protector off the bench. But this is the big trade I was making, as Zach Randolph, Nick Stauskas for Ivan Rabb and a 2nd round pick for this year. And you'll see the reason why I did this. Really, Nick Stauskas, I did not really like him. He's terrible on defense, not athletic enough. He's basically just a shooter. Zebo's getting older and was making $10 million, so this was pretty much a salary dump. And then we would trade that 2nd round pick for a 2017 2nd round pick for New Orleans, as give the Timberwolves another pick, and we would go out and sign both of our picks we made in the first round. As you're about to see why I wanted to clear that cap space. That gave me about $16 million to work with, and I wanted to go out and sign Anthony Davis. I gave him as much money as I possibly could. It was not the max, but I just tried to give him as much as I possibly could, tried to sort of mess around with that. I would offer him that contract. I also was looking at Kent Bazemore, but he wanted a little more money than I was willing to work with. But Anthony Davis has decided to sign with the Wizards, so that completely backfired on us. I really wanted to get him and pair him with DeMarcus Cousins. I thought that would have been a just completely deadly duo down low, but instead he would go with John Wall and not much else, as Bradley Beal would sign with the Hawks. But we would go out and sign Kent Bazemore, a nice wing player who is a very good defender, has definitely improved his shooting. He's like his 86 3-point shooting. But I was a little confused by this. A lot of our players got worse. Like Drew Holiday, DeMarcus Cousins all got worse. Ben McLemore got worse. I didn't really understand that exactly, as Stanley Johnson did get a little better. But overall, that just did not make much sense to me. However, Kevin McHale wants me to send Ben McLemore to perimeter shooting, but I think he's already a good enough shooter, so I didn't really understand that. But now we're going through some of the training camps. I would send Drew Holiday untapped potential, get him to an A- potential. Hopefully that can definitely help his growth moving forward. Also, big man defense for DeMarcus Cousins, who is now pretty much turned into a beast defending. Not the greatest block rating, but everything else is really good. Perimeter defense for Ben McLemore to improve that aspect of his game. That's probably his number one weakest thing. He's now an 82 on-ball defender. Perimeter shooting for Stanley Johnson should definitely help him, as he's now up to a 77 on shooting three. So that's definitely a real threat and something that I'm very comfortable shooting with, and that should definitely help out his offensive game a lot. As last year he had a lot of open looks, but I either didn't take him or took him and just wasn't confident in him. I would send Ray McCallum to perimeter defense, our entire team to free throws, and a couple of other players, different ones that I didn't show. But this is the big trade of the offseason. We're acquiring Draymond Green for DeMar Carroll, Sindarius Thornwell, our 2017 first-round pick that we acquired in the draft, and a 2017 Pelicans pick, and then flipping Robbie Hummel in that 17 Timberwolves pick for J.R. Smith and the Trailblazers pick. So the Rockets get an upgrade and a draft pick, and we get J.R. Smith to be our backup shooting guard, which I feel should be a very good deal for us. Overall, I think he could be a very nice piece coming off the bench. And we'd also, just to finish off our bench, get a nice guy off of it. We would go out and sign Tyrone Wallace, who went undrafted, for a one-year deal, like $1.5 million. But you can now see our minutes. This is going to be pretty difficult to get all of our players good minutes. Drew Holiday will play 32. All of our starters will play 32, except for Stanley Johnson will play 24, and DeMarcus Cousins will play 34. So then the rest of our players will play 16, except for the big men is spread out a little differently. Ryan, I think, is playing about 8 minutes, and then the other two, Ivan Rabb, who we acquired, and Montrezl Harrell, I think, are playing like 14 or something each. But this is now a team that I feel like should be just incredible on defense and also have some nice offensive firepower. But I really wanted to sign Anthony Davis. That was pretty much my offseason plan all year. I traded away Zebo, cleared up as much cap space as I could. But then I realized when I traded for Rabb, that added like $1.5 million to our cap space and took away that money to give to Anthony Davis. So that hurt us there. And we were only able to offer him about $15 million, which sort of sucked. But, I mean, I feel like that would have just made our team so good. We traded away Zebo, but I feel like even with the player we got, Draymond Green is a higher overall and really just should be, he's younger and allows us to get a little better spacing. As with Zebo, he could stretch it out to probably just short of the free throw line. But Green is a very good three-point shooter. I think he's like an 86, I think, in this game. So he's definitely improved that a good bit. But like I said, Anthony Davis, that was my plan. I traded away as much salary as I could, and it just was not enough. And I don't really understand why he signed with Washington, but I guess that's 2K logic. However, it was just tough. I really wanted to get him. But I feel like we ended up making out pretty well. This is now a team that are starting five. We have pretty much 4 great defenders. Drew Holiday is, I believe, like an A-. Not really that those matter, but they do. Stanley Johnson's an A- on perimeter defense. Ben McLemore's, he's a B, and he's probably our weakest starter. DeMarcus Cousins is an A+ on the inside, and Draymond Green is probably the defensive player of the year in the NBA this year, and that is pretty incredible. I don't know how accurate his ratings are because he played a lot better after I started this MyGM, and I don't feel like his ratings are probably completely accurate for how well he has played. But either way, our second unit now consists of a good bit of offense. You have Ray McCallum, who's improved his defense, J.R. Smith, Both of them are incredible offensively, really good playmakers who can come off the bench and provide a spark. If one of our starters is even struggling, he can move into the starting five and play crunch time. And then you have Kent Bazemore, who's really improved his three-point shooting. He's like a B+ perimeter defense. You have one of the two power forwards I could play are both pretty good defenders and both have pretty good offensive games. Montrezl Harrell's actually extended his game to the three-point line. I think he's like a 60 from 3 points, so that could actually be a nice little added bonus to his offensive game. And then Brima is just an incredible shot blocker, one of the best in all of college basketball, who will now be backing up DeMarcus Cousins. But overall, I'm really excited for this next team. I think that we have really improved this team. I still can't get over it. I really wanted Anthony Davis, but even without him, I think this team is a whole lot better. It could definitely make a run for a title. If not, I would like to at least make the conference finals this year. Hopefully get in the lower bracket, because I assume Oklahoma City will be the 1 seed, and maybe take them past 4 games would be a little nicer. Overall, I really think this team has gone over a nice transition, or really a transformation, since I took over as GM. I think there are a lot of nice pieces on this team, but I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like down below, leave your comments on how you thought the offseason went, and I will see you next time. The first game of the season, I'm not sure which one I'll show yet, but that should be up in the next couple of days, as I will probably be focusing on this series a little more, especially with the NBA playoffs just starting, wanting to make a little more progress. But like I said, I'll see you in the next episode, because I hope you did enjoy, 'cause I'm out.